What?
I thought I named was something else.
It's the late night Hearth. What did you think it was named?
You said something else earlier.
I might have said the midnight Hearth.
No,
It definitely included the word
We're
Hearth.
off to a great
I don't
start.
remember that either.
Yo, Casey, you wanna play cards while we're doing this podcast?
Yeah.
what?
What the
Uh,
What?
what?
Okay, continue what we're doing. We're just gonna play some World War II here. Just
Oh my
continue what
god.
we're doing.
All right. Let's see here. So Ryan, you've been going through some stuff recently, right?
Yeah.
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 Um, and I'm assuming this has to do with side effects of what quarantine has done, correct?
Yeah. It's been mentally not fun.
Yeah.
I would
So,
have said something completely worse, but you made it very clear you don't want to curse in this, so
well, I didn't. Okay, so you can
I would have
curse.
dropped an F bomb anyway.
Oh,
Don't
okay,
worry.
okay. Um, so have you found ways of dealing with this, or any ways to
What
be
am I-
helpful?
What the hell was that?
Jason,
I
you're gonna have to
started
stop
going,
that.
I'm sorry, I won't do it.
like I was saying, I started going back to work to kind of get my mind off of things, kind of like, make my life feel normal again. I've actually been writing a lot of stuff like riffs, some lyrics. I actually wrote one complete song in one night, which I'm actually shocked by.
Yeah.
Because I never do that. Eric and Brandon, I sent it both to you. I
Yes.
hope you both thought it was actually really good, considering my writing skills.
Yes. I have looked at it. It's really nice.
If we had video camera, Eric, you'd be showing Izzy song right now.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you could do it. I don't care.
No, it's fine. So the thing about that song is that what it shows me is that you've actively been searching within yourself, like actually looking inside yourself, trying to understand your emotions, right?
Yeah, for the last month.
And it looks like you've made some progress on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I just hate the idea of, letting my friends down, especially those who I become really close with.
yeah. So what does that fear feel like?
Oh boy, that's a good question. What does that fear feel like? Oh well, it feels like, this is gonna sound very violent, but
No,
it
go
feels like
on.
getting stabbed. It feels like getting stabbed in the heart.
Okay. So
And
so
there's nothing you can really do.
So you walk around with this general fear that feels that way.
Mhm.
Is this constant?
Not always constant, but like I said, when it comes to like certain people, like ones who I become very close with, like people who I've been friends with for a long time and I consider my family, even people I've just recently become friends with, consider my family, like Eric, Brandon, Jason, you guys, I consider my family.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I just hate the idea of letting you guys down. All right, who's gonna be the first to cry? I bet $5 on Brandon.
Nah.
I tried.
So
Well, that's actually kind of a bit of a problem with me. I haven't actually cried in better part of 15 years, which is weird. Actually, no,
That's-
not 15, like 10 years.
that's
Even if when I get so emotional, when in a situation where you are to cry, I just
You
physically kind of.
want to, but you feel like you have to fight it back.
No, yeah. Even though I want to, even the times I want to cry, sometimes it's like my tear ducts
Yeah,
just don't work.
You can't.
It's
Yeah.
just
You
weird.
physically feel like you can't.
Sometimes
I-
I'm like that too, Brandon.
I understand that feeling. Um, where like your tear ducts just refuse to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have like this deep inner sadness that you want to let out, but your body refuses to. And
Mm-hmm.
um, this 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 can be a result of the way young boys are taught not to cry,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be a result of someone being so used to making themselves numb, or being so used to needing to feel numb to hide themselves from the outer world that they their body is just in shock. Like they just don't, your body just is so used to you holding it back, you like refusing to refusing to let it go, that it just refuses to let it go, even subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where therapy helps. This is where talking um, to a therapist really helps someone in a way that allows them to no longer be numb, allow them to show their emotions. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'd like to point out that for a very long time, in grade school when I was going to, I was bullied a lot. So towards the end of grade school, I started, you know, burying my emotions deep, and throughout most of high school, up until senior year, I didn't really express my emotion until I found people who would listen and understand, who people I could feel, human.
We actually have someone who wants to join the chat.
Is it Thailand?
It's not Thailand. It is a viewer. Um,
Ooh,
so if you would like to join the chat, drop into Member Lounge, and I will invite you into the Hearth. I know you're already in my Discord, so uh,
Wait.
he says that I find talking about depression tends to make me more depressed. Um,
and
which
that can happen.
which I understand, and it does. It forces you to focus on it, right? Talking about depression forces you to focus on depression, right? But it also allows you to work through what you're feeling, which I feel as though is important.
Yeah.
Um, so that's uh, that's not the only topic that we're gonna cover. It's just the topic that we so happen to start on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna
Put me in the
flow.
spotlight. Thanks, Eric.
We're just gonna let the conversation flow, and that's just
Yeah.
how this works.
Gotcha.
Um, so Brandon, I'd like to consider myself a relatively good friend of yours.
Yes.
Um,
I would agree with that.
and I know you've been struggling a lot this school year. Um, would you like to tell us how that is, or you don't have to?
Hmm.
Your choice.
It's just, well, I think a part of it was not being used to the whole college experience, not really being told, how to go through, college.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess a part of that was me. I did have like a lot of terrible like studying techniques, like,
Yeah.
you know, you know, the
You
fact that I pretty much got like a lot of A's and B's in high school without spending a single minute on studying,
exactly, and
you
and
know.
No.
I'm just gonna break away just for a split second. I'll give the mic back to you. Um, but this is where I believe education system has failed their smarter students, right? Where their smarter students don't need to try, right? And
Mhm.
and it is again it's an option to get to the higher levels of education, right? It is an option to take honors courses or academically more challenging courses, right? But the problem is if I read this somewhere that this, and I find this to be true, right? Where if a intelligent student, a naturally intelligent student, is neglected by their intelligence, like they're neglected the fact that they're intelligent, they will find that it is pointless for them to study, it is pointless for them to work, and then they become depressed because then they believe that their life becomes pointless, right? They believe
Yeah.
that they no longer need to try. There is no challenge out there for them anymore. So what is the point of me existing? I have nothing to take on, right? And all of a sudden, you have this depressed, intelligent student with options to take higher academic paths like honors, but most likely the depressed student won't because they don't want to try anymore. So you set up a system that fails the intelligent student by making them depressed the moment they realize that you're not going to put them in the right class
Mhm.
because of their mental illness,
Yeah.
right?
Gotcha.
So, and I feel as though that is a huge struggle with today. So I'm gonna give the mic back to you, Brandon. So
Okay, thanks.
yes.
Y- yeah. It is obviously a little bit more than just that, you know. I mean, a lot of it's me, of course. You know, kind of a dangerous situation. You know, giving a lot of um, kids like that the ability to period the laptops and just pay half attention to class and shit like that. You know, I do have a problem with like attention spans and shit like that, and you know that part of that has just always kind of been me, and now, you know, going to this high level of education is now just
What's
gonna
up, gamers? It's your
bite me
boy
in the
Killer Team Star.
ass.
Sorry,
Thank
continue.
you. Thank you.
Continue.
Sorry.
Tony, this okay. Sorry. My friend Tony was out when I gave the briefing. Tony, this podcast right now is about depression, and we're having a deep discussion about Brandon's depression. All right, I'm gonna unmute you now.
I'm sorry.
All right, well, welcome back.
Well, hey,
Oh
hey.
shit! I
Thanks
just
for having
I
me
just
back.
dropped a viewer. Okay.
Don't.
All right.
That's why you don't look at your number.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks for
Alright.
having a laugh.
Thanks for making me not cry.
Join the podcast. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Give me 1 second, guys. No. Who's typing like they're a maniac?
My hands are light on the keyboard.
Tony's Corsair keyboard.
I'll just mute them. One second.
Thank you. Alright. Okay.
Take it.
We're back, Brandon.
Okay, sorry. What happened?
I just needed to respond to the guy who wants to join us.
Alright, sounds good.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more to that kind of story, you know. I was on the track team for like the first part of the semester, half the semester, and then I just just realized pretty hard that, you know, a person can only take like so sort of much sort of responsibility and stuff like that. You know, and part of the reason why I was doing that stuff in high school was because you know, I had a lot of you know, there's like a lot of like really close friends who were doing it. And when I did it in like college, and like it was just a little too sort of professional, a little too sort of, you know, it's like the fun of going into like team like that was just kind of evaporated at that point. Because you're not a couple of kids trying to chase down the world. You're almost making like track into a business, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And also because that's when school was starting to become like complete shit for me. I
Yeah.
think I bombed my first calculus class and I had to retake it, which I'm still kind of paying for. Yeah, but there's that problem. Um, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just kind of me struggling to see the day. I did have a few love lives, I guess you can call, during that kind of weird semester. There's this one adorable looking redhead, not the Mike redhead, but
Okay. Okay.
I know Jason's laughing his ass off at that, but this is the chick that I was told you guys about, who um we kind of hit on. I thought it was going pretty well. She was a little bit of a tsundere, if you know what I mean. And and this is the chick that um you know left me during like winter break, and
Yeah.
she came back and she like turned gay or something.
Oh wow.
Um,
Yeah, her.
I didn't
No.
I didn't make her I didn't make her
That's
turn
weird,
gay.
Jason. That's
But
weird.
I
she was like
didn't
she was like bi from the start,
Hey,
and
hey,
like
hey,
she was
hey, hey,
experimenting
hey,
with
guys,
women.
guys. Go on, Brandon.
She was like bi from the start and experimenting with women or something.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, and then she was like hooked me up with this other chick, this super smart chick who like, you know, one of the people who told me to like, get move, get moving, to like
Yeah.
start putting some elbow into some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um, then this other chick that that the redhead hooked me up with, um, she was a pretty nice person, kind of a dweeb, but I believe it was,
Fucking
and then
weird.
that thing. I believe it was like a what career fair where like some I don't know, something maybe completely sort of pissed off. And um a little bit of backstory on that. Like when I was super young, living in like some horrendous toxic sort of family family issues, especially with my older brother,
Mhm.
and some things going on there. I started to develop some pretty serious anger issues, and I think it was like that one thing during career fair, and something happened. I don't know. I don't remember what, and my anger issues just started to sort of come out, and I had to thank her for like telling me to sort of knock my shit off, and like you're almost 20 years old, bro, and this is still a problem.
Mhm.
And I guess
Well,
that
here's the
was
thing.
a
It could still be a problem. Like,
mm,
yes, there's many ways of dealing with it, right? And
hmm
I think what she said um, is a little insensitive. You know, there's a lot more behind mental issues than just the issue.
hmm
There's a whole story behind it. There's a whole
yeah,
reason why someone thinks the way they do. Um,
okay,
and it's resolving that story that helps the issue. It's not
okay,
saying get over it that helps the issue. It's not
hmm
saying, oh, that's an old story. Don't worry about it.
hmm
No, it's finding resolution to that story that matters.
gotcha.
It, it,
And
it
I
and
guess no one ever helped me find that resolution.
yeah,
Not
and
even some of the therapists I talked to back in the day didn't really help me find resolution. It's just me trying to find resolution to myself, or even better still, using that sort of negative and turning into a positive and
yeah,
doing something good with it.
yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
So
Um,
sometimes again, taking a a negative thing and turning it positive can also lead to issues. Because then are you truly recognizing the thing as a negative? Taking something that's negative and turning it into positive may end up causing you ignoring half the world, the bad side of the world, you know, where realization of that topic is needed. Like, you need to understand that not everything will always be good. Not everything. That doesn't mean everything will always be bad, but not everything is going to be good, right?
Okay.
And ignoring the fact that there are bad things out there could be a problem in itself.
Yeah, I guess I kind of agree with that. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You don't always need to know either. So
Yeah.
let's
Yeah. Should I continue on or?
do you want to?
I mean, I basically told you sort of kind of what was going on during my semester. You know.
Yeah.
Later on, I guess she broke up with me too, and said he didn't even want to be friends because she was transferring to another school or some bullshit. But I knew exactly why she broke up with me. It was kind of clear that it was something having to do with my sort of
and maybe
anger issues.
and
At
maybe
least she was honest, though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of respect.
She wasn't honest. She just said she didn't want to do it because she was transferring to another school. I mean, she was, but I feel like there's something else that people weren't talking.
so then
Well, at least she was upfront, I guess.
so
So
then
she didn't want to date you because like her friend said or something.
no case.
That wasn't.
She didn't want to date him because of
What happened?
anger issues.
Ah.
Yeah.
Even though it was just kind of one isolated incident, and I
She
believe
might
none
have
of
felt
that shit
uncomfortable
define me
and
what I
afraid that it wasn't
should define what I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's always there's always possible options to help you with this. I've told almost everyone who asked me for help to meditate. Like almost everyone who has said, "Hey, I'm sad. Hey, I need help. I can't think through my own thoughts." And I tell them, "Sit down. Do nothing." And just sit there. And one of the tools to help is imagination, where you sit there and you imagine a tree next to you, right, and a river in front of you, and each thought you have is a leaf that falls off the tree. You can either choose to let that thought go down the river, or pick up the thought and entertain and think about it. That way you can start learning to control your thoughts more. That's just a tool that I commonly use to help me get through my day, because I've recently been having a rough time, and
It feels like quarantine's not making it any better. I mean,
I think we're all in a very vulnerable state right now.
Yeah, not having human contact is pretty much depriving humans and kind of what makes humans click.
Yeah.
Because all species need some form of human interaction, and when you're limiting this sort of interaction to just sound bites coming from computer speakers, there really isn't any sort of weight to that. And I know things are starting to open up back up again, and people are starting to finally get closer to each other. But, I just feel like, you know, I'm just in a situation where, I mean, I've never had the luxury of, many friends, or really the luck of, having a relationship that lasts more than a month. And I, firmly believe that I'm never really going to find love, and almost kind of accepted that, which is
I wouldn't.
insane.
How old are you? You're 20.
20, yeah.
And you're telling yourself that you're never gonna find love within
Don't do that. Do
within
not get
within the 60 years you have left.
Just go on Tinder, dude.
That's not love.
I have tried.
That's
I've
called
been
the
on
Mike
Tinder,
Bucket
and
solution.
That's not
it's
love.
just-
That's called
lost.
that. No, that's
That's called
I
I'm
mean,
going
yeah,
to catch.
kinda.
That's
That-
what we like to call catch 'em all, inspired by
no.
Pokemon.
Tinder is. I need a stick.
Oh, do not
In
even
something.
trust Tinder. That's a scam.
Casey got catfished.
I didn't get catfished. I didn't.
No,
even
you're
get-
right, Casey. You were the
I got
catfish.
catfish before, dude.
Yeah,
Casey was the
catfish.
Casey
I got
was the
catfish.
catfish.
No, you guys don't understand. I was the catfish.
Oh.
Yes, we
God.
just said that.
Yeah, we said
like-
that. Tony.
Oh.
Good
Five of
job.
us just said that.
Tony, so far your input into this podcast so far has been
Well,
sup
because-
gamers, it's Killer Keemstar, and then interrupting to say he and then repeating a joke.
In the middle of the most
Well, here's the
depressing
thing,
Well, he's done
conversation
more than
ever.
me and Jason. Me and Jason are just playing cards in the background.
Yeah, I mean, but at least you're listening.
Dude, I was gonna say like I'm just waiting. So I'm waiting for you guys to be finished so I can put something in.
I'm waiting for someone to
Well,
ask me.
I was gonna
Yeah.
transition, but like if you want to, let's go to Tony.
Oh, Christ.
Okay.
I just,
Oh, okay. Great.
Brandon, are you
Now.
done? Hold on. Brandon, are you done?
Um.
If you're not,
If you're not, yeah,
say
you go.
something.
Yeah,
Say
yeah,
the truth.
I'm just. I think I just took too long, and
No, you didn't,
No,
dude.
dude,
We
you're
have
fine.
all the time in the world.
It's a
Hey.
it's a really deep subject, and it's okay
Yeah.
to talk about this,
Yeah.
especially
Well,
since you're in the comfort of friends.
Okay, if you guys really wanted me to continue, I mean, I
Let's
don't.
go.
We're not
you know-
forcing you. Don't make this a forced thing. It's up
the
to you.
problem, I guess I really have a problem with people. Not to like say you guys do anything wrong, but I really just have a problem with talking too much about myself because I feel like that's bordering on sort of narcissism.
I
And
don't
I
think so.
kind of don't want.
Okay.
I kind of don't want to, be a narcissist.
Brandon, if
Or,
I may
like,
interrupt
No,
for a
that's
second.
not narcissism.
talk
right
too much
there.
about myself.
Brandon, if I may interrupt for a second. I noticed you will occasionally bring up deep subjects out of the blue in light conversations. And talk about your thoughts in the world. But in no way do I see that as narcissism.
No,
I see
don't
I see that as you need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's why we're
sometimes
here.
I do.
And-
Exactly.
And in no way is that being selfish.
Mhm.
Everyone deserves someone to talk to. Everyone deserves some type of comfort in this world.
Gotcha.
But it gets to a point, and I've experienced this myself plenty of times, especially recently, where it start to ask yourself, am I doing this too much? Am I only doing this to get attention from this one person or these people? And I've experienced that recently.
And
So
and I can confirm with Ryan because Ryan did constantly reach out to me for help. And that may have been on my own fault. That may have not been. But what I started doing was, because this is another issue, is getting into someone who is emotionally troubled or having trouble, getting into their lives is hard, and getting into their lives but still keeping that distance, because if you get too far into your lives, you get dragged in, and then you tend to forget about your own life, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
And what I find that helps keep a healthy distance, right, is the old proverb of, if you give a man a fish, he will eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he will eat for a lifetime. If I teach you the things that I was taught by psychologists or that I learned that helped me, then you can use them to help yourself. Give me a second.
Mhm. What's going on?
Oh no, but it's
very
quite
funny
deep.
if you or something like that.
Who's the person who's trying to enter? Is it Dan?
I think so.
No way.
As long as he's up to talking about deep shit. I mean,
Sorry about that. I'm back.
Are you serious?
What?
I don't know.
I mean, I think he asked in our other server. I'm pretty sure.
He's asked on our own server. He can join this one, but.
What's going on?
It's Dan that wants to join, right?
Who?
It's Dan that wants to join, right?
Okay.
I mean, if he doesn't mind talking about deep shit, I mean, why don't you give
Yeah.
it a disclaimer warning beforehand? Yeah. Going back to the whole love thing, you know.
Love life is an incredibly hard thing for people in their late teens, early 20s. Because they're getting to a point where they need to focus on their academics, but they also want someone to help them through life again. Right?
Yeah.
You have that desire to have a partner, right? You have that desire to go through life with someone else where you can help each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because you realize that you're not always going to have a partner. You need to figure out your own life before you get a partner. You know, that's what makes love for late teens, early 20s hard. Is because they're still figuring out who they are, right? And who they are going to be. And in the meantime, they're trying to sell this amorphous thing to someone else that's constantly changing and constantly growing, right? And you're trying to sell that to someone else. That's what makes love life so hard as people of our age. Where we're constantly changing. So how do we know we're going to stay the same?
All I really know is that if I do find someone, it's not going to be from here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's. I mean, I meant outside of Newtown.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Antarctica.
Maybe outside of Philly. Maybe outside of the United States. I don't know.
No, you never know.
Antarctica.
Like Mike with his Australian girlfriend.
We're gonna skip that topic for now.
Yeah. You know.
Don't worry, stream. It's just
Our friend.
It's an inside joke.
No, I'll tell Tony. No, I'll tell Tony.
Crippling porn addiction on Tinder.
No, it's he stalked a girl all of senior year on Tinder who lived in Australia.
Oh,
So that's the meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
Anyway, let's move on.
If you're listening, sorry, Mike.
Yeah. I'm pretty much done.
Yeah.
We can move on.
I believe Tony had some stuff to say.
On again.
I'll go after Tony.
All right.
When do I get a turn?
I guess after Jason.
Okay. Well, after Jason stops blowing up my troops.
Oh my god. All right, Tony.
Mute yourself for a little while if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, please mute yourself if you're gonna say that stuff. Tony.
And if you're gonna like slam your desk.
Tony. All right. I guess Tony doesn't want to go. Jason.
No, I'm collecting my thoughts, bro.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, you didn't say anything. I didn't.
Look, man. I said like 1
Oh,
second.
okay, listen. In my defense, your background color is the same exact color as the talking color. So I couldn't tell if you were there or not.
I can put my video on. You want me to fix that?
No, do not put your video on, please.
We're not doing videos.
Why is that a problem?
This is no video.
We're not doing videos.
We're not doing videos.
Alright, that's fair enough. Well, I guess we'll talk about recent problems that I've had. Well, obviously this year has fucking sucked, right?
Yeah.
And thank God I didn't actually have depression during some of the events that have been happening recently.
Yeah.
Which I'll actually get into later. But I guess my depression really started to kick in. I think it was around the second half of the first semester of college, right? So for anyone who's wondering, I'm an art student, right? I do graphic design, but we all have to go through a program called AFO, which is called Art Foundation. We are put into 2 classes in each semester for Art Foundation, and we have to complete. We do shit for like physical media and digital media, and we explore each area of art, whether it's drawing, sculpting, editing photos, or doing graphic design, which is the one I loved. So I clearly remember. I think it was during some of the projects that were coming up that are like almost finals, but it was actually kind of before finals. I was getting into a rut where I started to feel depressed for I don't know what reason, and it got to a point where I was just every time that I was going to class, I'd have my hood up. I'd be blasting shit like Trivium, Parkway Drive, Board of Osiris, As I Lay Dying, stuff like that, right? And I would skateboard to class every day, you know. But it started to get cold, so I guess it just put me in the mood to be like, oh, I am an edgy, depressed fucking boy. But it really just dragged me down. Now you can listen to whatever the heck you want, but I guess for me it didn't make it any better, even though it's still awesome music. I would say later in the semester it got real bad, right? And I started having suicidal thoughts, but never actually acted on any of it. But what I did was I surrounded myself with people so I wouldn't, I wouldn't fall back into that kind of stuff. And, that was still going on. And then the first time that I really blew up with this was when I was watching Jack Ryan with my parents, right? On like, I think it was Thanksgiving break. Sorry, I'm going on a rant.
No, go on.
I was watching Jack Ryan, the first episode of season 2, which great episode by the way. But I'm not gonna say what happened because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But there's a lot of heavy shit that happened, and it got to me. And I guess I was drinking a couple, but it got to a point where I was shaking watching this stuff. And I was feeling aggressive, and I was yelling at the TV. And then the episode ended, and I felt like crying and running down here, which I did. My dad, who's right now in the hospital, said, what should I call it? That we're gonna watch another one, and I'm like, Dad, turn off the TV. And he started playing the next episode. I'm like, dude, turn off the fucking TV. I just ran downstairs crying. I don't know what happened, but I legit just had a breakdown.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. Actually, that was before all this dramatic shit in college happened. So that's one thing. And then it got better, right? I got better when I was back for whatchamacallit? When I was back
Jason.
for winter break. I will bonk you, dude.
Jason.
I swear.
What?
Why would you pog champ?
I will fucking bonk you, mate.
What did you do, Jason?
He pog champs suicidal thoughts and actions.
No.
Why would you pog champ?
Just
Manka S, dude.
No.
Manka S.
Wait, no, I commented it when Tony said he screamed at his dad, and I just put.
Oh my god.
Dude, no.
If I yell,
No.
if they yell, I yell louder.
Oh my god.
Come on.
All right. Let's reel it back in.
So winter break is around, right? And we're all around. I actually am. I got better during then because I was with family and I was doing stuff.
Yeah.
I remember. I think it was the 23rd. 23rd of December. Me and Ty I actually went over to Ty's place and then stayed for the night. Next morning, we went to New York, and we took the train for an hour. It was super fucking crowded. There were these chicks, right? They were around me. They were from I don't know, Portugal or shit like that. Hi, Dark.
Mm-hmm.
They were from Portugal, and I was trying to not be a creep, so I was like looking down and shit. I'm like, dude, help! I don't want to be in this position. It sucked, but you know, got there, had a fun time in New York. I'm back, right? But you know, Christmas comes. It was fun. Actually, hold on. Let me backtrack a little bit. So I went from driving back from Thailand's house
Mm-hmm.
to my house, only to be in the car for like an hour and a half again,
One
and to be
second.
away from my house.
1 second. Tony,
Oops, sorry.
just 1 second. All right. And welcome, Dark.
Hey.
We are currently talking with the Toaster, as you refer to him.
The toaster.
Yeah, the Toaster.
Oh my god, that Matt Heafy emote is so better.
When they yell, I yell louder. And he's currently talking about deeper another deep subject. We're gonna get off of deep subjects. I think Jay, then Casey, and then we'll move on to like stories.
Wait, are we getting off the deep subjects?
I mean, we don't have to, but
I want to at least finish.
Well,
mine.
what's the subject right
I'm
now?
taking a while. I'll be...
Tony's just giving us the rundown of his year right now. About he's talking about depression. The deep subject's depression.
I'm just kind of going through the
I will say real quick as a sidebar, Cloud9 and FlyQuest are playing right now.
Okay.
Just got an alert. They're going live.
Nice. That's self-promoting your band, Kappa.
That's not self-promoting. He's not on Cloud9.
Oh, wait, not self-promoting. That's other.
I wish.
No.
Oh Jesus.
Imagine.
I wish I was on Cloud9.
Yeah, then maybe you could get me in.
So do I.
Maybe you could get me in as a Poppy player. Alright, let's go back to Tony.
So, yeah, it was just it was a clusterfuck of me traveling around places. So I'm just gonna skip the rest of Christmas and go right to New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was with Ty, right? And I know I shouldn't be talking about drinking, but we were drinking. And we were actually
They're
having a
both
lot of
21
fun.
Twitch.
Yeah, we're 21.
Yep.
Fuck.
I'm not 21.
So-
I'm 24.
You know, so you're 24.
Oh God, I'm old.
25. Anyways, we were all playing games. We were playing Quiplash. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But the New Year's Eve countdown was happening, right?
Oh God.
And my dad turns to my mom and me, and he was like, "I don't know what it is, but this year's going to be a shit year."
Yeah.
And let me
he
tell
was
you,
right.
he hasn't been more right about anything in his life than what he said there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year has been very interesting to say the
oh,
least.
Let me run down the briefing. With Dark real quick. We're avoiding political topics, right?
I mean, I'm not getting into political
yeah.
topics, but
We're avoiding
saying.
political topics, avoiding cursing if at all possible.
Okay, I can definitely do that.
And that's about it. Everything else is about free reign. So.
Oh no.
What did you say, Eric?
All right. Yeah. If you start acting up now, I will just boot you out.
I mean, whenever it's raining, it's usually free, right?
Yeah.
You know what?
It's not like you pay for it to rain outside.
Yeah. Imagine.
Imagine having to pay for rain.
Yeah.
Oh
Imagine.
God.
Yeah.
It would actually be really good because then these places that have a lot of droughts can just get a lot of rich people to pay for them.
That's right.
So California.
Okay, here's the thing. California, earlier this year, was experiencing a fire, a drought, a flood, and what was the third one? Or the fourth one? There was a fourth one.
Coronavirus.
So
and
instead of
coronavirus all at the same time.
instead of getting like into political topics, is there any way that I can get into religious topics?
No.
Religious
It's
counts as
only
political.
Religious, right?
Religious counts as political.
Hey,
I think.
Ryan, it's my stream. I'm gonna decide.
Damn it.
Well,
What
so,
kind of political topic? or what kind of religious topic?
I'm not backing any religious topics. However, I am saying that there are 4 religions that are saying that there is supposed to be an apocalypse this year.
I mean,
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
it's proven true.
So we
I
lost
consider
8
that
years
conspiracy.
in the Dark Ages, and so now technically it's 2012. So according to the Mayan calendar, this year's the end. The signs and the stuff that's been going on in the world recently has been leading very, very heavily into Christian Judgment Day.
Oh, it would be cooler. They said it was cool in the book.
I mean, if you take a look at it from the outside, it is pretty cool. But when you're actually living it, not so much.
When will the dead rise? I didn't get that memo.
That's October.
The dead may have already risen.
All right,
And
Tony. We're gonna go back to Tony, and then we're gonna get back to your topic. How's that?
Yeah, I'm
How's that
sorry. That's a completely separate topic, and I know
Yeah.
Tony's talking about his own things.
All right.
You know. Anyways, yeah. So my dad turns to my mom, and me and Ty, and he's like, I don't know what it is, but I have a premonition that this will be a really shit year. He was right. And I think right when it turned 2020, the first thing I did, I had a fucking big thing. It was like it wasn't a pint, right? But it was like it was not a 40 ounce. It was like a 20 ounce beer. It was a 90-minute IPA, which is 9.0 alcohol content.
Mm-hmm.
I chugged half of that right when the clock hit. I had Tylon sitting right next to me, and he didn't know that I was depressed as shit, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I just felt it, and I literally tweeted out, I don't want to be alive right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just want someone to end it all. And I guess when I went back to college, I actually got my wisdom teeth out before I even left. So left with that. And shit, I'm actually mixing shit up. Okay. 2 days after, got my wisdom teeth removed. Same day, had a lot of shit with a friend, which I didn't want to. The argument lasted until 2 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't want to fucking deal with it. So 2020 was already off to a blazing start. Get back to college, right? Getting back in my groove, but I'm still feeling shitty. It got to a point where there was what should I call it? There was a time where I went to the dining hall and just started drinking coffee and was eating.
Okay.
And I was sad as shit.
Okay.
Tony, I know you're going through your year, but you don't need to tell us when you were gonna.
Okay, fuck it. Okay.
Whole morning.
I wanted to kill myself, basically.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I couldn't get out of that.
Well, you could have just.
Wait, hold on.
You could have gone straight to that.
Yeah, but like, how did taking a deuce, like a fat deuce, go?
I didn't say. I never said anything about taking a shit.
Angry
He didn't
slash-
say taking a fat deuce, man.
I said nothing about taking a shit, by the way.
Oh my god.
Wait,
How-
you said nothing about taking
Okay.
a shit? Then what were you saying?
I said nothing about taking a shit.
No,
Dude,
but you said I drank coffee and ate and needed to take a deuce.
No, I never said that.
You literally said that.
Yeah,
I did not say take a deuce.
Yeah, no, you said take a shit.
I know
You
myself.
said
I did
you
not
said
say take a shit.
no. Hold
One
on.
person at a time. One
Hey,
person at a time.
Hey! Order in the court. Order in the court.
No, Neko G.
Order.
Discord cannot handle this.
Okay.
Oh my
So
God.
order in the court. So Tony, right? You said take a shit, but I'm
I swear
using
I
my
did not
own
say that.
rules of not cursing as the least amount of possible.
I'm trying, man.
Okay.
YouTube demonetization
Regardless,
sucks.
All right.
continue. You were drinking your coffee.
You were
I was
drinking
drinking
your
my
coffee.
coffee, and I was listening to some music, right? And I don't know why, I just, like, I kept having thoughts of, like, I could smash this plate against the wall and just shove this shard of ceramic in my throat or something and
Yeah.
just end it. Or
Yeah.
break the window, jump out, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I went back to my dorm after that, and my RA saw me come in the hallway, and whatchamacallit, like, okay, my room was like right next to the stairwell, right?
Uh-huh.
And I turned the corner, he was there, I got startled, and then he was asking me if I was alright. I'm like, no. And I started crying, and I couldn't stop. So he's like, you want me to leave you alone? So I'm like, yeah. And I went in my room and I cried, like a fucking bitch. But
Okay.
thing is-
Okay. Oh, hold on.
I guess-
Manly then crying.
I'm gonna stop you there. So a lot of people have a stigma against crying, right? And they say it's not manly or it's not strong, right? But I think showing your greatest weakness and showing people your most vulnerable state is about the strongest thing you can do.
But he went to his room. He didn't show anyone that.
No,
So,
but he
here,
showed himself,
think-
did he
think about
not?
it. Well, no. So here's the thing, right? So we grow up in a society today that
Okay.
kind of condemns the whole idea of.
So this was this is a topic that
We
was already
talked about
covered.
this already.
Yeah, we
Right.
talked
Yes,
about
yes,
this.
yes.
Hold on, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
You know,
gonna
the whole
interject here
be
real
a
quick.
man thing, and I actually heard you talk about this.
Hold on. Why? Okay. First off, why are you trying to justify it? Second off, did you miss the part where I said I cried in front of the RA? He said, "Do you need me to leave you alone?"
Okay. Well,
And
so
I said yes, and I went back in my room.
that part's irrelevant. Yes. Okay. All right. I
It's not
understand.
though.
irrelevant.
It's not though. It's not irrelevant
it-
because he
excuse
cried
me.
because he cried in front of someone, which means
Okay,
he
yes.
showed his greatest weakness, which means that that's about the strongest thing you can do. And I
So-
know you want to cover the topic of the societal issue of men not being able to show weakness or show their tears in
The
public.
biggest weakness is not being able to show that you have a weakness and you can't call up for help.
But here's what we covered, and here's what we said about it, right? Is yes, society at one point did indeed do this, right? And it did indeed push men not to cry. But we covered into the fact that this topic was brought up in I believe the form of the education system, or around the same time of the education system. So what we said was we have an education system that teaches that makes intelligent students depressed is the synopsis of what that conversation was. It makes intelligent students depressed by not pushing them hard enough, which eventually makes them numb to ever trying, and this numb feeling will continue throughout their life as they feel like nothing will ever be a challenge to them. And when you have that as a result of the education system,
Well,
where they no longer need to try,
Can I?
then all
can
of
I
a
get
sudden
to my
you
point
have
in what I'm
yeah.
saying, because you sound like you're fighting against what I'm saying, but you don't know what I'm saying because I haven't even gotten into my point within the
No,
conversation.
what I'm saying is we already covered this topic, but go
Yes. Well, I mean, I wasn't here for that. So is there any way that I can put in my input on it?
ahead. Go ahead.
Showing that you have a weakness to others is not a strength. Crying in front of others is not a strength, in my opinion. And it may sound cruel, right? But the whole point of crying is that you are weak and you're broken down emotionally. There's no strength in that.
Okay.
But I can understand people who feel the need to, and societal wise,
So so I
we
have a
used to
question.
live in a place where it was, hey, grow up, be a man and stuff.
So I have a
However,
question.
today's society, we
Yeah.
are encouraging people to do the
Yes.
exact opposite.
Yes, I
To
agree
show
with that.
emotion at all points in time.
I
Where
agree.
whereas
I agree.
I agree.
it's hit an extreme onto the other point though.
Yes.
Right?
But
Yes, you can show emotion at points in time, but people are gonna
exactly.
fucking make fun of you. They're going to come at you for being a little crybaby. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to cry in front of people. What I'm saying is that there's certain people that
Other people see you as a bitch.
So
Yeah.
exactly there are going to be
okay.
people in this world who do that.
People
So
aren't gonna pat
okay.
you on the back and
Here
cry.
here's
Like,
my
"Oh,
question
you're
for you though.
strong."
Right? So
Hold on.
here's my question for you. You say that you don't see it as a strength. But a man or a woman who refuses to seek out help is not using their greatest strength.
You should absolutely seek out
So-
help, and if you
so-
seek out help, then you won't need to cry in front of people.
Exactly. But what we're saying is crying out in front of people is or will lead to seeking out for help. And seeking out for help is the biggest strength a human has because we are a societal and we are a societal creature who relies on other beings for
Seeking
help.
out help is definitely something that you should do, and it's definitely something that
And
you
it
should be
would
even
it
rewarded
is
for
your
doing.
biggest strength
But
is other
if
people.
if you think about it, right? If you are crying in front of others, right, that are plain people, they're not your therapist, they're not
Yeah.
someone who's very close to you.
Yeah.
It's an RA down the
Mhm.
hall. Then
Mhm.
that means that you haven't sought help when you really needed it, and then you broke down because of it.
Yes.
Which means you should have
But now you are.
sought help like way before that.
But I have a
Well, here's
question.
the
I
thing.
have a question. A lot of people don't know they even need help.
Exactly.
So
Like, when
now
this-
you're
sorry.
bringing up an issue which is entirely different, right? Where them crying is them crying out for help. That is their version. That mental breakdown was the limit, right? That is the moment they realized they are screwed, they need help, right? And you are bringing up, hey, they should have sought help about 5 weeks ago when they didn't know they needed help then. And I can tell you from experience, that is how it feels, right?
Yeah.
And
Where-
to put it in
And you
perspective,
know what?
when
I've been there too.
Hold,
I know
hold on. Let me say something.
Alright, let the man speak.
But I will yell louder. No.
Let them yell louder.
Let the tones
no.
speak.
Alright.
So, I did not know I needed help. When I had that breakdown initially, I knew I was getting help, but I didn't realize how bad it was, and I didn't think I'd actually get super depressed from it. And I was in college, dude. I couldn't really get help, because I'm pretty sure people there, like counselors, they don't do shit. They're not paid. They're not paid specialists. I don't fucking know. But
they are paid specialists. That's their job.
Okay,
barely.
no,
They,
most
they have about like 100,000 students to freaking worry about, or some crap like that. Okay?
They're advisors and they're counselors. The counselors are specifically there to help you. That's
Yeah.
the idea.
not every college, not every counselor.
Well,
okay,
every
first off,
counselor I've talked to has done absolutely jack shit
Coun-
for me, so I
counselor-
don't even know how the fuck that's supposed to work.
Exactly,
Okay,
and
let's calm down.
and I haven't. I've gotten the special accommodations from them. I haven't used them. I didn't need it. The way I deal with my depression is, I surround myself with friends and talk with them. The day after I had that breakdown, I hung out with my friend Gina the entire day,
Mhm.
till like 1 or 2 in the morning,
Mm.
and she helped me
So
because I needed somebody.
a couple years back, I had like a lot of issues with depression myself. I had been kicked out of my house. I was forced to live on my own with no money. So I was working on a shitty pizza job. I'm sorry, language.
no,
my
you're
bad.
fine. You're fine.
And it, I had just broken up with a girlfriend of a year and a half because I was seriously depressed and I felt like I had issues with myself. So because of that, I broke up with her and I was all alone. I was extremely sexually active, let's say, because I was just, I didn't care about life. And it took about 2, 3 years before I realized that my biggest way of getting out of that was finding a goal to work towards, finding, something that I
I got
needed to
so much
become,
add to that.
right?
I got
And
Same.
there was a couple of things that I did to be able to do that, and some of them were false goals, I would say, in that, I thought that they were big things to accomplish, yet they actually were a detriment to my progress. And then eventually I found a path in my career that I, knew would be able to last me for my life. It would make an impact on others throughout society. It would put a name out for myself. It would, put money in my pocket, etc., etc. But once I found that dream, I started working towards that, and I don't think I've ever been happier in my life.
That's
Okay.
good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
that's. I mean, a
And
lot.
it's really difficult because I know there are people who just don't know what that goal is. They don't understand what they're supposed to do in life. And
Yeah,
I know I struggled with that myself. I was like, I'm this worthless little piece of crap
I,
that's not for productive,
yeah,
not doing anything.
and I feel as though that is a lot of college students nowadays, where they get into college and they're like, I have a general idea of the subject that I want to study, but I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Where they're like,
And that's
I
why there's so
love
many
this
people who
thing.
shift
There's
their
no degree
degree.
Where that's why we have so many people like switching their degrees, right?
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
because they, yeah, Casey can talk to you personally about switching degrees. But I'm just gonna I wanna I'm gonna let you guys talk amongst yourselves. I know Jason wanted to talk about goals. He said that he had stuff lined up for that.
Yes, I do.
So we're gonna take a quick break. I needed to go to the bathroom. No. We're gonna it's a quick 30-second break so I can
Alright.
pee.
Alright.
Okay.
I need a piss too, so might as
So-
well like give myself out of the way.
So
Alright,
and
bathroom break.
then bathroom break, and then we'll be back. Those who are staying, you can talk amongst yourselves.
Rocker said the call crashed for him.
Okay. Perfect timing. Those who are staying, you can talk amongst yourselves. I will be back
Alright, I'll be
in
back.
just a moment.
I forgot that Dark was in here.
So, who's left?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, Jason. Jason, you completely killed me that second round of cards.
Oh yeah, dude, that was a good game.
You had too many good hands there, Jason. I had nothing.
You got me one round too. It was a good game, dude.
What's funny is I never actually did my actual message, but that's okay. We're on to something else. I went on for too long.
Pog.
Pog champ.
We learned to pick ourselves up.
Dude, skateboarders do that all the time.
So, what else are we going to talk about on this podcast?
I don't know, but it's getting sort of heated. At
It's
least
got.
personally.
I'm gonna drop some knowledge.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
I can't hear anything because my thing keeps lagging out.
I
Can
said
they
I'm
hear
gonna
us?
drop some knowledge right here.
Dude, they can still hear us, by
What?
the way. Just saying.
I know. Don't worry.
We could continue with the
Nah, I'll wait for Eric and Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah.
He'll be back in a second, probably.
I'm gonna crack my back. Oh, my back.
Huh!
Oh my gosh, my back.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, I'm good.
Well, here's Wonderwall by Oasis.
No, it's copyright.
Not when I sing it.
I'm meme on Oasis.
Oh, who's that?
Who
Rocker
yeah.
201.
Thank you.
Ryan.
For some reason, the call crashed.
Oh my god.
I don't know how. I don't know why. It just crashed. The Discord's just like, nope. Bye. See ya.
Just Discord things.
Just
is
be
that
like,
Eric?
go F
Early
yourself.
things, boys.
Oh, that's a,
Bro.
you gotta follow the rules.
I'll make this quick too. I'll wait till Eric comes back.
Alright, so what did I miss?
I am back.
Nothing.
I am back.
Alright.
Yeah, I was talking the entire time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I've been back for quite some time. I'm the one who dragged Ryan back in. So
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Alright.
so
Jay's about to drop some
yeah,
knowledge.
Jay wants to talk about some rules, or not some rules, some goals.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about depression. I'll lead in the goals.
Okay.
I'll make it quick though.
All right, you don't need to make it quick. We have
Wow,
all
I see how it is. Kappa.
Alright.
Eric, real quick, how long have we been doing this for so far?
an hour and 5 minutes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we
They
have.
get 10-hour podcast.
Alright.
boys.
And we haven't even gotten to Casey. I'm excited to get to Casey, dude.
I don't
Alright.
even know what to talk about. I've seen so
It's just
many
gonna be a lot of dick
Alright,
jokes.
I'll be
It's not
quick.
gonna be
I swear to God, Ryan.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick.
You said the bad word. Ban.
Alright, yo.
Shut up, Casey.
Alright.
Alright, Jason.
Alright, so depression's kind of a touchy subject for me. Because, like, I experienced it a lot. And over time, I kind of, like, learned how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially, like, I'll go from senior year to high school to now. I'll promise I'll make it quick.
You don't need to.
Like,
Just remember
the
that.
start of senior year, like I was depressed. Like, I don't know. Like, sometimes it just hits. But
Yeah.
I just learned to deal with it.
Around when in senior year did it hit?
Like the beginning. Like, you know, like, I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. Like, you know, like you see like the movies, like in high school, like
Yeah.
people are doing some like wild shit, and it's like, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
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 Jason,
I'm
I,
just fucking depressed
So
about it.
so did you have the realization? Is that when you started having the realization of, oh, this is the last year I'll be here?
Exactly.
Is
yeah.
that when
it
that
was like
hit?
senior year depression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's one of those things like, you know, I got over it. Like, all right, I don't want to be really cringe. This is going to be cringe, all right?
Go ahead.
Nah,
So
dude, you're fine.
get ready. This is going to be pretty cringe. All right, so
I'm bracing for the cringe.
when Haley came along,
When Haley came
Oh,
along.
God.
like I was
Oh.
kind of depressed, and then Haley came along, and that made me happy. You know, like I was never in like a real relationship.
Yeah.
And I know Haley was like very short, but it was like my first.
For a second, I thought you meant physically. For a second, I thought you meant physically, but you meant the
No.
length of the relationship.
I
But-
mean, she
Yeah.
kind of was.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, we're gonna.
I-
Yeah, let's get
think
back.
I meant
Let-
figuratively and literally.
Let's get
But
back.
that-
Let's get back.
That's not the cringe part. All right, you'll see. So like, you know, Haley, like she made she made me happy and all.
Yeah.
You know, like, which was a really good feeling because like I haven't been happy in a long time. Like
Yeah.
I was just
yeah.
always down in the dumps. You know, and you know,
Mhm.
I kind of learned to cope with it. And then like when Haley came along, it really, really like brightened me up.
Yeah.
And she broke up with me. I've been like, obviously she was a shitty person,
Mm-hmm.
but like that just fucked me up mentally.
Yeah.
It's like how, like, imagine going from like super depressed to happy, and
Yeah.
then right back where you were again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right back to
Oh,
square
yeah.
one.
I mean,
that sucks.
I-
Well, listen, it goes on. Like, then there's this thing called Oasis. Now listen, I'm not being.
And now
cringe.
here's Wonderwall.
I'm not being cringe.
I know where this is
But-
going.
It's pretty cringe. I don't think anyone knows about this
I think I might.
except Matt. So I told Matt.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh man, this is gonna drop a bombshell for you guys.
I might know this. Hey,
Just
listen,
Eric.
can we control the reaction to
You
not
guys
like?
are gonna laugh.
Can
I
we
don't
like?
care.
Everybody mute yourself except for Jake.
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
No,
it's
no, no,
fine,
no. You don't
it's
need to
fine,
mute
I don't
yourself.
know.
I want to hear the reactions. I just
It's
don't want
fine.
it to be
Just
that one.
get on with it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Thank you,
I-
Brandon.
I'm just gonna say you guys are gonna bust my stones forever on this.
Just
Okay.
get on with it, dude.
No,
So
just
Haley-
don't happen.
At the time, Haley's favorite band was Oasis. Now,
Yeah.
listen, I know that's cringe, but at the time, I don't know, like, when she broke up with me, I listened to Oasis, and I swear I don't listen because of her. I listen because they're a good band, and it motivates me, dude. And that's when I started picking up the guitar, and I never stopped because I kept keeping this goal of mine, like, hey, I want to be a fucking good guitar player, and I just kept that as a goal because I was so fucking depressed after that whole scene with Haley when we broke up. So I just continued playing guitar just forever, and until now, and like I just kept that with me. I made a song with Matt. I just did that because what's his name, Dark, whoever the fuck his name is. Sorry, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He talked about goals, and like I can really relate to that because I always kept playing guitar because I wasn't depressed. Like when I had goals like that, I just keep going, I keep pushing, and I don't like think about depression and shit.
Yeah.
So that really helped me. Like,
So
I don't think that's cringy at all.
I don't
that's
think
actually
that's
very
cringy.
highly
Dude,
respectable.
none
So-
of that was cringe.
As a
That was-
guitarist,
Not
Jason, as a guitarist, I think that is very respectable and very
But, like,
understandable. Because
so
I've been playing
Well, I-
guitar for 5 years, and it's one of the things that keeps me motivated every day.
Yeah,
it's-
same.
it's
So-
one of the. I don't want to sound cringe, like, oh,
Dude,
I play
you've-
guitar because a girl broke off with me.
You've not sounded cringe yet, dude.
So I just like to say I was borderline expecting you to be like, I learned Wonderwall and then played it in front of her classroom. Like I was like borderline expecting that.
Get back to my girlfriend. I played.
No, that's not cringe. That's just cliche.
Yeah. But like, okay, so I get it. Goals can really like drive you out of depression, right? But for me, I can have goals, right? And it still won't drive me out of bed. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll still just lay there. The only thing that, like, it's sad, I guess, in a way. The only thing that really drives me to get out of bed is when someone else needs or expects something of me or needs me to do something.
Okay.
Like I don't
feel
know.
that.
To the point where like the whole reason I learned drums was even for someone else. Because someone was just like, "Hey, we need a drummer." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Yeah, I can relate to that. Like, dude, I started playing guitar because of fucking. I can't say it on chat, but a fucking. Never mind. Bad word.
Then don't say
We're
it.
talking about our locked out phase.
No, 'cause I was gonna say I can't say it on chat, but like, 'cause a girl broke up with me. It's like, come
Yeah.
on, it's like kind of cringe, but
I
like,
mean,
like
dude,
obviously when I play guitar, I don't think of that. I just think of getting better. But at the time, like that really was.
Yeah.
Just
It
going
sounds
with
cringe, but I mean, like the reason that cliches are cliches are because they're
Everyone
true.
feels them.
Yeah.
Everyone understands that. Like even if you're, playing guitar because you broke up with a girl, yeah, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche because people understand. It's very
You
true.
want to talk about cringe? We talk about Izzy song.
Oh
Yep.
my God. We're not bringing up Izzy
I
song.
don't even know what.
We're not bringing it.
We'll save that.
I mean, I have it right next to me. Hold on, I can do a
wait, why
dramatic
do you have
reading.
it with you?
I have it just on my desk always, just in case I need to read it to someone.
You said we
Jesus
weren't gonna bring it
Christ.
up.
This
No, we're not reading
No,
this.
I'm not doing a dramatic reading though. It's a joke.
Thank God.
By the
Yeah.
way, Izzy song is something that Ryan wrote here.
We don't judge.
We don't judge. We don't judge. But
Yes, we do.
the lyrics were quite interesting.
it was.
I only judged semi-harshly there.
Can I
Yeah.
also make a note about college for Tony?
Yo, what's up?
All right, like I don't know how like universities are because I go to a community college. It's a lot different.
With Eric and I.
But like college got me depressed in a way because I'm going to college to get laid. Like that was like
Excuse me, what?
Wait, hold on.
Hold up, Jay. You never told us this.
Well, that's pretty standard.
Don't deny it. Everyone getting into college wants to get laid. That's like
I'm there for
Number
computer
two goal,
science.
number
Yeah, but I'm gonna say something really quickly.
Freaking
to get to
bro.
you, right?
And
Hold on,
then- And
Wait,
then,
whoa,
like,
whoa.
sorry.
I'm
what?
there because that's
One
always been my
second.
plan.
Oh, god damn it. So, one thing is, right, that I'm not going to college to get laid. I'm going to college to get education and maybe get laid. But even then, it's my decision if I want to get laid or not. And I think keeping my virginity and saying, "Oh, I made a good choice," down the road is stronger than is a reason to say I kept my virginity for this reason. And or instead of saying, "Oh, I got fucked by a girl one night that I didn't love."
Well, what I'm trying to say, like, I definitely had high expectations, but it obviously didn't go as planned. But
I don't.
what I'm trying to say, like, community college is different because, like, everyone's so like in and out.
The same.
Like everyone's in to get their work done and they're out. They go to work,
Yeah.
which I
Well,
get.
I mean,
I'm
that's the
fine.
point
I'm
of
the same way.
college.
I'm the same way. I go to
Yeah.
college, I do my shit, and then I go to work.
Yeah.
But like, there's no social contact in community
I
college.
mean, have you joined a club? Because there's a lot of social stuff
I was
going
gonna say
on in
that's not
clubs.
entirely true.
When I was
right?
in college, my
video game
crews
college.
were all due to clubs.
Yeah, like I joined oh my god. Okay, so Ryan knows this. I joined drama club, right? But I never joined drama club by like going into drama club and being like, "Hey, I want to be here." What happened was game and anime club were in the main space and they were being stupid. They were doing stupid stuff. And I wanted to get away from the stupidity, right? They were like yelling about how lollies are legal or some shit.
Yeah,
And I'm
for
like,
some reason in college the nerds are always the biggest hoes.
so
Always.
okay,
I'm a hoe.
hold on, let me finish, because this is a funny story. So I walk into drama club, right? And I'm standing there, and I look at Callie, and I say, "Hey, can I take shelter from the stupidity in here?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine. You're pretty
Oh,
chill,
so that's how
whatever."
you two met.
And then Evan comes in, and he's like, "Yeah, by the way, we're gonna be moving your club because you don't have enough membership." And she literally points at me, and she says, "He's in the club now. He's part of us. That makes us have enough membership, right?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I guess." And I'm like, "Okay."
That sounds like
That's literally how I
sounds
joined
like
drama
a
club.
Stereotypical TV show, like like a sitcom.
Yeah.
Story right
Literature
there.
club.
Ugh.
Then we were gonna get a gig for a musical at Fox, but that
Oh my god, that was a
real
disaster.
fast.
That was a
It was
disaster.
such a disaster.
So
Eric, you want to tell them why
Yeah.
it was a disaster?
So we were gonna get a gig at a musical, right? I'm a drummer who had just under a year's experience, right?
I'd say over a year,
Over a year, I guess, over a year experience, right?
but
And-
you're good for over a year.
And I'm okay for over a year, I'd say. I wouldn't say good. I can't really shed that well, but like I can do stuff. I can do basic beats and stuff. But
Better than I can.
well, that's because you don't play drums. But that's besides the point. So
It's because I don't know rhythm.
yeah, that's fair. So Callie comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, you're a drummer, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Do you know any other musicians that would want to be part of a pit? And I'm like, "Well, I know a bassist and I know a guitarist." And she's
Ew.
like, "Okay, perfect. That's enough for a pit." And I'm like, "That doesn't sound like enough for a pit, but okay." And she's like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. It's for a rock show." And I'm like, "Okay, that's perfect. It's for a rock musical."
Sick.
And I'm like, "Sick. That's awesome." And then she comes to
Then
me
Eric
2
talks to
weeks
me.
later. She comes to me 2 weeks later, and I'm supposed to have the music by this point. And she or this is a month later actually, because I
this is
ask
when-
her for the music, and then she doesn't give it to me. And then I wait a week,
Yeah,
and then
but-
I ask her for the music, and then she doesn't give it to me. And then this goes on for a month, and then I ask her, "Hey, can I have the music?" And she's like, "Yeah, about that. We're canceling the pit." And I'm like, "Why?" "Well, we found out that you need a lot more instruments than just a drummer and
And then
two
oh,
strings."
like when
And I'm like,
I-
"Oh, really? The thing I said? Whoa." And I'm like, okay,
Okay.
whatever.
I would like to point out.
So
I was there
technically,
when that
all the
happened,
songs
and
could
there
have
was
been
just
done.
like
One at a
I
time.
was there when it happened. I'm just like, Why does this not surprise me that this happens?
Yeah.
I
So-
mean, it kind
What?
of surprised me. I mean, I was planning on taking the whole trip from freaking Newark.
Yeah,
And
I know.
doing
Yeah, and
that
I
kind of
was like
shit.
I was like super excited because I was
Yeah,
like
can
really
we
excited
talk
that
about
we'd be playing.
I was
pers
so
We were gonna
confused.
play like 80s like pop hair metal kind of stuff, and I was
Yeah.
like super stoked.
Jay, this was for the musical that the drama club was gonna hold for Heather's.
Oh.
Yeah, they were gonna have me drum for it, and the drumming to Heather's is, I don't know, maybe other drummers will disagree, but I sat in the bathtub listening to Heather's, and I got the rhythm down within like the first time I heard it. I was just like, oh,
Nice.
yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
Heather's is. I used to drum, but I can't really confirm until I actually do it myself. So you know the-
Look up
Hold on.
Tony
You know the dude?
Tony
I'm
Tony.
gonna, yeah.
Look up Heather's Candy Shop. You'll find out how easy it is.
Okay,
Send us a
so
link.
I'm going to do the same thing
No,
you
I'm not
did
gonna send a link.
since it worked for you. I'm going to literally sit in the bathtub and
Okay.
drum it out.
Yeah.
Don't,
I-
don't
You're
bring your
bringing
webcam.
the bathtub with you?
Don't bring your webcam.
Alright, so
Wow, why would I? Lewd.
real quick,
Please don't.
Okay, so
Hey guys, I'm in my bathtub.
okay, moving on from that.
My new Yeti
I'm gonna move on to the next.
Yeah, I'm in my bathtub.
I'm gonna move on to the next horror story, which was the gig, right? I'm
Oh,
so
God,
glad the
yeah.
gig got canceled.
I know.
We were
what-
not
I
ready.
am so
Holy
happy.
shit, Briggs.
Christ.
It would have been interesting.
Jay,
I-
the gig
two
was
Me and
weeks, within
Tylon
2
heard
weeks.
everything about this, by the way.
okay.
Eric, what?
Yeah.
2 gigs within 2 weeks. One charity, well, both were charity events, but one was also like a talent show.
Yeah, and
And that
then
happened like right as coronavirus was happening. So.
yeah, so we were not prepared at all. These two guys thought we could just go up and improv, and I think there was like some
Brandon and
confusion. There was some confusion along the way, right? Where I told them,
Specifically, Brandon and I.
yeah. So where I told them in the beginning of our adventures as a band, I told them, hey, I'm really good at improv. I can just improv all my parts, right? Most drummers
That's
do.
Literally.
Most drummers do. If you ever get like orchestral music or drum or big band music, a lot of the drummer stuff will just be slashes through the music on the beats they want you to hit, and the drummer makes up the beat for it. Like they improv. That's the drummer's job. That's the hard part of drums, right? And somehow, from me saying I can improv, I'm good at improv, I think I'm just gonna improv my drum parts and then write them down later. Somehow, from that, they decided, yes, that means we all improv.
No.
no.
Then we became a jazz band.
And then we became a jazz band.
No, you became the jazz.
The J's.
The jazz
God.
gets stick.
Big,
Guys, let Brandon
Yeah,
speak.
go on.
you know, for that band, I was a pretty big sort of advocate of actually having us, write our own shit. Have something
Yeah.
written down.
Yeah,
have
I want-
something sort of-
yeah.
Have a big structure. Pre-chorus, verse, chorus,
Mhm.
out sort of structure.
Yeah.
And just trying to do something like that. That's why I wrote that first song that we did when we were still Face to Music.
Yeah.
Wait.
Perseverance.
Brandon.
Yeah.
What about the droid attack?
Wait, what?
What?
Great relations with the Wookiees.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god, stop.
Okay. That's why I wrote Perseverance, because I wanted that first song that we can just kind of build forward from, and just kind of influence you guys
Yeah.
to do your own kind of
Real-
stuff.
Yeah.
We also had a
that
whole
was-
album planned out.
Yeah, we
had
did.
a whole
We
album
did.
planned out. And
Okay.
then we said, screw it, let's just work on an instrumental for...
Okay,
Once
Ryan,
on
can,
it.
can I just say, we had a whole album planned out, and yet I don't think either of you wrote a single note of melody.
No,
Okay,
not
maybe
really.
Brandon did. Brandon did. I don't think you ever wrote a single note of
I'm
melody.
going to clarify for those
I
who are
wrote
wondering,
like
this is the
small
tragic
riffs, but they
story of
never went
feedback.
anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony, go on.
I'm gonna clarify for everyone. This is the tragic story of feedback.
Shut up.
It is.
It is. It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
So-
Have you ever heard the tragic tale of feedback?
Ever heard of the tragic tale of locked out that led to the tragic tale of feedback?
Have you or a loved one been exposed?
Oh my
to
god,
feedback?
remember Locked Out, Jay? Dude,
We don't talk about it.
no,
We
no, no,
don't
no,
talk
no,
about
hold
that.
on, hold on. I want to talk about it.
God damn
Jay and I have talked about Locked Out already, afterwards, right? I don't know if either of you were there, but let's be honest with ourselves.
Brandon
We
and I were
all
there.
thought, no, when we talked about it.
We all thought we were gonna be the deal.
Yeah, we were all thinking we were gonna be the shit. Like, we all thought we were gonna be big. Let's be
Eric
real.
was only like 2 weeks into drumming.
Yeah, I was only 2 weeks into drumming, and it's not that I didn't. Okay, it's not that I thought we were gonna be big. I just thought that we could at least get somewhere, right? And it was so hilarious to watch me try and tune my drums when I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Matt trying to add, or what's his name? Brett trying to add dubstep.
Oh
Into
my
rock
god,
music,
into
we're
rock
like,
music.
okay, that's it.
Excuse
Nope.
me.
Yeah.
No more band.
Brett.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. The only time that worked is if you're playing an Incubus.
The only time that it works
And,
is when you're in Fallout.
Unless you're
Even then, it
Incubus,
doesn't sound
you
good.
can't do it.
When Matt says that Bruce Dickinson's one of the worst singers in the world, I'm like, yep, you're fucking out.
Yeah, or can we talk about how the singer for AC/DC, he said that oh wow, that's a shit singer just because he couldn't do the vocal fry. Like, just
Yeah, 'cause
because
he's the
Matt
bass
couldn't Matt
No,
couldn't do the vocal fry, so
No.
he did not like the singer
No,
of
no. Matt didn't like it because vocal frying is not like how like choir singers sing. They don't fry their voices like
Yeah, I
that
know.
because it hurts their
Yeah,
vocal.
that was the problem.
Yeah, that was the problem. Well,
He's
here's
a choir singer. He's a bass choir singer. When we're looking for a rock singer
yeah.
Yeah, rock and
who
roll.
doesn't really need back vocals,
No.
but they're there.
Dude. All right, let's get to Casey. Casey, I think, has some stories
Oh, yeah.
for us.
Finally.
I don't know what you want me to talk about. Like,
All right, Casey, I'll bring up a topic of conversation. Remember that time my basement flooded?
Oh yeah. That
Yeah,
was
let's talk about that. So it was brought to my attention earlier today. One of the funniest things you ever said in that situation to me was this, right? So my uncle, right, the basement was like, I don't know, good, what would you say, 4 inches underwater?
I would say 2 to 3.
2 to 3. Okay, 2 to 3 inches underwater, right? And I'm rushing, getting my drum kit out of there, getting my computer out of there, making sure all the tech is safe, right? Getting the furniture up, and we're shop vacuuming the entire basement.
This was in October, by the way. just
Yeah,
so you guys
yeah. Casey, one of the best friends you can have. He literally dropped everything that day to just come over and help me out. And
Yeah, Casey.
yeah, Casey,
I brought
you
shot
you are absolutely amazing. I love you, dude.
I brought a shot back. And
yeah.
I just-
So he
Casey
just
brought his RAV4.
he did. Yeah, he brought his RAV4.
It was cutting top. It was cutting over civilians. I had to cut out the civilians. They died for a good cause.
So Casey comes over and we're shot vacuuming the entire thing, and the power it shorted in the basement, so there was no Wi-Fi in the house, and my uncle is sitting upstairs yelling downstairs for the whole time Casey is over. Eric, fix the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi ain't working, right? And Casey's response to this was to say to me, he says, I don't know if you noticed, but your basement's flooded. It was so funny. It was so funny.
Oh wait, Eric, remember what else I did?
What?
Remember I was sucking up.
Oh my god, that's right. Oh,
And then the TV.
hold on. Alright, welcome back, Brian. So Casey was sucking up the water, and he's like, it's not sucking anymore, I don't understand. And then he flips it in reverse, pulls it up, and splashes it all over my TV.
Can I Wait, let me give you some details of the story. So I was down there, and luckily for Eric at the time, his like Xbox and all of his gaming consoles and TV were on a stand.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, Eric, thank God your stuff didn't get destroyed. So I'm sucking up all the water, and
Yeah.
I did not know that at a certain point when the shock back gets full, it would shoot the water back out the reverse pipe.
Yeah.
So the reverse pipes aimed at all the stuff I just said it wasn't destroyed.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I look around like, oh no!
He literally picks it up and splashes it all over my TV, my consoles, everything. I'm pretty sure they all still work. I still haven't checked them because I don't really play console. PC Master Race. Let's be real here.
I heard about
So
that.
what
like,
else other than like the base? What else do you want?
No, hold on. Brandon's talking.
Yeah, so as far as water and electronics go, as long as you don't turn them on for like 24 hours or you clean them thoroughly before you turn them on, you're
Okay.
fine. The problem is just turning them on after
Yeah.
after Casey splashes water over them.
That usually comes into an issue.
That's when it becomes an issue because then
So-
things short and shit like that happens.
So the other day, I had a moment of realization, like of how long I've actually been drumming, or how long I've been friends with you guys, right? And
Hey.
I'm scrolling through my saved photos on Instagram, and I still have my the post Ryan sent me of
From Locked Out.
no, not of Locked Out, of the orange drum kit sitting in coils. Saved.
Really?
Yeah, I still have it saved.
Really?
So I was looking at it, and I'm like, holy shit, that's the kit that I brought home. That's the kit that I have in my basement right now, and that's the one that I play on all the time. It was like so surreal for me. I don't know.
We have that connection. It's
Yeah.
called Coils Richborough Music. Hashtag sponsorship.
No,
Hit us up.
no, we're not sponsored.
Hashtag
Eric works there.
sponsored but not sponsored.
Yeah, Eric works there. Yeah, I work there. They're sponsoring me by giving me my paycheck. So
Not right now.
But not sponsored.
not right now. Oh, speaking of which, I drove by Coils today. They have a sign out. They still haven't called me, by the way. They have a sign outside that says "Now open, online lessons."
Yeah, what the fuck?
So like, I'm just wondering. Like, they're my bosses are like amazing. They're awesome guys.
They really are.
Really hardworking. Really just like down to earth and like very trusting. Or trustful rather. And I just wonder if they're probably waiting for Green to have me back on, because in all honesty, I doubt they're getting the same populace they had in the store before, with everything going on with the pandemic.
Corner Bakery.
Oh, Corner Bakery's closed. I won't doubt if Corner. Okay, I won't doubt if Corner Bakery goes bankrupt, right? Because as I said to Jay, right? As I said to Jay, the only time I go to Corner Bakery is if I'm going through the wilderness, like the Alaskan wilderness, and it's the first thing I see, and I'm like, I guess I could go to Corner Bakery.
You know what
Yeah.
else is going out now? Chuck E. Cheese's are going out of business across the country.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Oh yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese is going to go away.
Yeah, hold on, guys. Jay has something to say. Jay has something to say.
Alright, so me and my boss are pretty tight. You know, we play basketball every now and then, you know, we're good buddies.
How old is your boss?
Was your boss not the Asian woman?
No. She's the GM. I hang out with the other manager.
Oh. Okay.
He has no info. Only that we might be opening June 9th. We still don't, or not June 9th, July 9th.
Okay.
I was gonna
the
say
prob-
June 9th is come and gone.
The problem with Corner Bakery is like, okay, like our main demographic is, what's the word? Boomers. Our main demographic is older people.
Yeah.
You know, and because of COVID, you know, we lost that. We lost our main demographic. You know, and in a marketing perspective, like you got to have a main demographic. Like that
Yeah.
makes the most money and like you take that away, you don't fucking have anything. So we were
Yeah.
making like $13 a day. It was
Oh.
bad.
Oh
It was
my
bad, dude. We were losing money left and right, and obviously we had to close. We closed like I believe March 4th, and then next week that's when the whole lockdown happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I don't know if we're ever gonna recover from it because we lost our main demographic. They're either dead or not coming back, and it's sad to say that. Corner bakeries be gone.
I mean,
Also Chipotle
I
too.
feel so sad.
I don't think Chipotle's going anywhere. Too many
No,
Zoomers use
I
it.
think Chipotle is gonna destroy us.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Mod
Dude.
pizza though, I don't think is gonna last very long.
I counter that argument. Mod pizza is
Hey.
good. Mod pizza is good.
Change my mind.
No,
Good.
mod
Mod
pizza is
pizza.
good. Mod pizza is good for the people who want to try stupid pizzas, right?
God damn,
So like
This
to
comes
give
from
you an
Vegas,
example,
blank
I
pizza.
wanted to try a stupid pizza the other day. The stupid pizza I wanted to try was pineapple and anchovies. And I got to try it.
Why would you do that?
It was good. It was salty and sweet. It was
This
amazing.
is the guy. This is the guy who likes
Just
Hawaii,
like
by the
legit.
way.
Oh, yeah, also, guys, I gotta get off now. I was
Alright.
talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was nice.
I will say, hey,
CJ?
totally off subject, but I'm playing League while listening to this.
Yeah.
Trying out Pantheon support for the first time. Absolutely broken. Just got.
Can
I
I
know.
play Jen with you?
Are we gonna have two
I-
people on the call now just playing League?
Probably, because I'm gonna be going to bed soon. Because I have
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
yeah, well,
back for Newtown.
Yeah, I gotta go soon too because I got work tomorrow.
Okay.
I can
I'll
play
tell you
League
what.
with you in just a bit.
Should we just end the, should we just end the podcast?
No,
We've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we went for an hour and a half. I mean, I want to keep going for maybe to 2.
I can do that.
I
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
it.
I'll be here if
I
you
cannot.
2 hours?
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
a long
I'll be here
podcast.
for sure.
yeah. No, not 2
Standard
more
podcast
hours
is-
to 2 hours, like half an hour more.
Like reached the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean that's about the standard length of a podcast, 2 hours.
So Casey, you wanted to stay? You got some more stories to talk about? Thank you for your commentary, Tony, but I do not speak Morse code.
I was thinking,
He's speaking against the censors.
You know who Tony is? Have you guys seen that meme where the cat's like meh, 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 and like it's all going red? That's Tony.
No.
Oh my god.
All right, Tony, I'm gonna mute you real quick.
well, I'm gonna.
All right. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
So, what stories can we tell now?
Anything. Go for it. I don't care.
Who wants
your
to hear a
favorite
story about
pizza?
working in the haunted house?
Let's do that one. Oh, wait. Yeah, I just unmuted you from my side. Thank you, Tony. So before you do that, wasn't there this case of this guy? So to give clarification, in this haunted house, there's what is it called? A hay wagon or whatever that you can ride on, right?
Oh,
And-
Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow. And they go around, and wasn't there a guy who climbed up? It was one of the workers who climbed up on the side and then pissed on onto the people.
No, that wasn't. That was a customer.
That was a customer who
That was a
pissed
customer.
off the cart onto the
No, he
workers,
pissed onto the people.
onto the customers.
Onto the hay riders.
See what happened. I'll just give you one. I'll give you my first year just to start off. So I can
Okay.
get more stories later.
All right.
So I worked in this haunted hayride called Sleepy Hollow. It's just like a haunted hayride / haunted house attraction, in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. So at my thing, for those of you who've never worked in a haunted house before and want to do it, just prepare for one thing. You're going to be doing a whole lot of nothing and then something and then nothing.
That's like that's like a lot of jobs. That's like being a military watchout. You could describe a military watchout as that. You're gonna be doing a whole lot of nothing, and then something, and then you're gonna go back to doing a whole lot of
Like
nothing.
literally, like we we did our training. We got our little acting training. We got like our costumes and everything.
This sounds like a
And
boot
then
camp.
they assigned me
Just
to be-
replace just replace costume with uniform. It's a
So
boot
I
camp.
got my post, which was my first year. I was in the swamp.
Okay.
There was not really a thing for me to do in the swamp. I just stood on like a little platform in this house,
Okay.
and they gave me a chainsaw with a real chain attached to it, but no gas.
That's stupid, but okay.
So you put real gas in that bit, right?
Legally, I say no.
Oh.
Legal.
But my friend, like, I was right next to the place where they actually had chainsaws and real gas for no chain. So during my out there, like half my entire day was standing there and just waiting for the wagon to come, and then just talking to my friends and having them run back to their station. It was like, it's so I can't remember any of the conversations off the top of my head, but they were so funny. So like one night, I was doing my stuff. The wagon was coming around.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's like this weird liquid on my face and my body.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
my mouth
was it a
was
salty
open.
surprise?
What, some could probably say that.
Wait, hold on. There was this weird.
Like,
I completely zoned out of the
Yeah,
conversation.
no,
for a
no,
second
no.
there.
Casey
All I
got a
heard
little
was,
bit of
I
special
woke up
frosting.
with a weird liquid.
Yeah. Casey got special frosting.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was. I just remembered it now. So a bunch of kids were on the wagon. A bunch of kids from Council Rock South. were on the
Gross,
wagon.
gross,
One of the
gross.
kids put the water in his mouth. You know, like how you put water in your mouth?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you were gonna say something else there.
No.
No,
That's.
I
so
never
that's
put
what
water
they
in my
did.
mouth, Casey.
Well,
Can you
that's what
explain
they
it to me?
did. Well,
What?
oh my
Never once in my life have I put water in my mouth.
Shut up. So, he squirted at me and a bunch of other people. So then we stop the wagon. We pull the kid out. We get the freaking ATV guys at him, and then, like, he's like screaming like, "I didn't do nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong."
Okay.
Like doing the whole details because
Yeah.
they're not friendly enough of what happened to him.
Yeah.
But
We dropped so many
that was one
boys.
thing that happened. Then another thing that happened was during the entire time I was with my friend Sean. Now Sean, he's been doing the haunted house for years.
Okay.
Sean, like, he's like a little bit of a, like, he's not mentally all there, but he's in the army right now. He's like,
That's a great
he's like a little-
combination.
Isn't that everyone in the army?
He's like 90. What?
Josh just
I think
said,
what
"Isn't
Casey's
that
trying to
everyone?"
say, even before he joined the army, he's not 100% mentally.
Like, so.
Yes, but that's everyone in the army.
Yeah, I know, but like what Sean's main goal of going to the army was he wanted to be part of the K9 unit and train dogs.
Oh, well, that explains a lot about his sanity.
Yes. So he was doing that, and what happened was I was working with him. I worked with him before another job, Meglia.
Okay. Yeah.
I worked
I
with him.
remember the horror stories in Meglios. For use for I literally just said use. For you guys out there who don't know what Meglios is, Meglios is a pizza chain, or not a pizza chain, a pizza joint around where we live that is extremely
pizza chain.
sexist and only allows girls to waitress and does not have a single boy waiter.
Yeah.
So
But,
back to what you were
so
saying,
I
Casey.
worked with Sean as a dishwasher there, but that's
Yeah.
a whole different story. And every hour and every time, Sean would walk over. He was my manager. He would walk over to me and we would just talk.
Yeah.
And one night, me and Sean were standing on the set. I was in an old, decrepit log cabin,
Okay.
which was just a facade.
Yeah.
And I say to Sean, like, we're just talking, and Sean's like, "Hey, Casey, you think there's any glass in these windows?" And he punches the windows. And of course, there's like a whole thing of glass, and he like fucking breaks through. Guys, and I fall to the floor of the shack. and the whole thing just almost collapsed around us. And then the cart came around, and we had to rush back to our scenes. And Sean's like, "Oh God!" That's just. What about it?
I'm missing. All right.
Like I could.
Sorry, I'm in
Right
bed right
now?
now. I can't really.
So
Yeah,
Brandon's using this time to use us as pillow talk. Feels nice, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
Hey,
have.
Brandon.
I don't. Yeah, I don't have anyone else right now. But so this is.
Don't worry, you have 5 other men with you.
Yeah.
I was sitting on my bed for a little bit, but then I had to move downstairs because my dad texted me because I was being too loud.
No, okay.
5 other men. We just need one more Piper Period. Would be good to go.
Oh my god.
Shut up, Brandon.
Young kids, do not look up that name.
Young kids never take Brandon's advice ever.
What do you want me to
No,
do?
don't. If this man says, "Hey, I have free candy," don't follow him.
Yeah.
If Tony says
This
that,
man
if
says
Tony
him-
says, "Hey, little kids, I have free candy," he's most likely gonna put cat ears on you, and everything will be fine. Oh, by the way, I have Tony muted. Hold on.
Oh.
Okay, go on, Tony.
Wait, did you not hear me say the thing about the status?
No.
Oh, hey,
I heard you say something about
Eric, take a look at my status and take a look at Jason's status.
Okay, hold on. I can't because I'm using Discord for my overlay, so I'm gonna have to go to my phone. Just give me a second.
What are we talking here, status?
Let's see. Tony, probably doing World Generation.
Where is this?
Jason is offline.
No, his says probably doing World Generation last time I
Oh.
checked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tony, yours says probably doing World Generation right now.
Ha 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 ha. Very funny.
So I
Okay.
have another funny story.
So I'm gonna mute Tony again since he's
No, I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay, fine.
Let Tony feel independent.
I have
Okay,
another-
that's fine. He can feel independent. I mean, he's independently sending a message to Lincoln using the fucking Telegram, isn't he?
Alright,
I
before you guys
will
continue,
type super fast and Morse code to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, 1 second. Where's your DM?
Alright, I'm gonna have to hang up. It's
Beep 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 beep
Christ.
beep beep beep. There you go.
That was not Morse code. That was just a bunch of random
Enjoy your
beeps.
fucking Morse.
Thanks.
Alright.
Alright, see you later, Ryan. It was nice talking to you.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.
Real quick, when is this being uploaded to YouTube?
I don't
'Cause
know
that's
yet.
your plan.
I don't know yet.
Alright.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also, how often are we gonna do this? Is this like an every night thing? Or...
Maybe we
Yeah,
could
we
do
have-
this Fridays. How's that sound?
Let's
Yeah.
do this. Yeah, do this once a week.
Cool,
Yeah.
So do you think we could possibly move the time earlier? Maybe
Oof.
like
Don't know
9?
about that, but I'll let you know. I plan my stream times for optimal viewage.
for all the lonely sexy shit that are up.
Oh
past
my
11,
God.
12.
Oh
I'm
wait, is it
sorry.
actually past 12 right now?
It's,
Yeah,
It's almost.
No, it's not past 12. All right.
I know, but the joke is still there.
like,
Yeah.
it's
Thank
like-
you. Yes, that's why I stream 1 to 3. Thank you. 1 a.m. to
Yep,
3
no
a.m.
problem.
Yes.
Wait,
All right, bye.
Eric, can I
Bye.
give another story? This one's actually.
Yes. Go on. Go on.
So, let me tell you the story about Casey first getting his first job. Casey's
Okay.
first job. I was so young, 15 years old,
Uh huh.
second year of high school.
Okay.
No, it was second year of middle school. I think I forget. Who knows?
Yeah.
My first job was walking.
Walking what?
There was this woman who had two, like, what are those like wiener, like hunting dog things, like those wiener dogs.
Yeah, wiener dogs.
She had two wiener dogs and she loved them.
Okay.
The year prior to me getting this job, one of the wiener dogs died, and then I got a job walking the other one.
Okay.
So my first day, I walk over to her house, and she gives me this entire rundown of what I have to do. She cares for this dog more than her life.
Okay.
She's like, do not let it eat anything on the ground. Do not let it do this. Do not let it... It's like if it get, you have to be careful. You have to care for this dog for your life.
Okay.
So it affects
Yeah.
you. So the first thing that happens, I walk up the street with a dog, and I'm not really paying attention. I'm on my phone for a second, and the dog comes back with a dead squirrel in its mouth.
Jesus.
And one of my other neighbor, like she's like, it was like this my other girl neighbor who I was in school with. So we both I said, "Oh no!" And I'm trying to.
You sound like Charlie Brown. Oh no!
And like first, I try using a stick to lure it away. So like, hey, doggy, get the stick. And doesn't want to do it. He wants to eat the dead squirrel. So then I'm like, oh god, what am I gonna do? She's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And then so my neighbor, she like helps me out to distract the dog. She gets her own. She had dog treats. She pulls out a whole thing.
Okay.
And I just kick this dead squirrel into like the wood.
Yeah.
And I get back to the old lady's house, and she's like, "How was the first walk, Casey? You were out there for a little longer than I expected." I said, "It's all good, man. It's all good." And it's like, "What's wrong with my dog's face? There's like something on his face." I'm like, "There's nothing there, man. Like, just don't ask any more questions. Come on." And I walked out that day. Then another thing about that old lady, she had a husband who didn't leave his house and only watched Vietnam movies and cop shows.
Okay.
I was his only outside connection outside of his wife. So every day I would go in and get the dog, and he'd be sitting there watching TV. He would like watch the door as I come in.
Mm-hmm.
And every day he was like, he would say something creepy to me or something weird. Like one day he says to me, in 5 years from now, I'm not
You cut out what?
going out of here, kid. In 5 years, I won't be alive.
Why? What? Oh, was it? Were they making meth in their basement?
And then, no, I was actually in their basement. They had a little meth lab.
Oh, they lured young Casey into their basement. That's always a
I
great
had to
sign.
pick up dog shit in their basement.
Why would there be dog shit in the basement?
The dog was able to go down the stairs somehow, but the woman couldn't do down the stairs.
Oh god, can you imagine how much dog shit would just be on the bottom?
Like, every day I would come home from school, Eric, I would walk the dog.
Yeah.
And she paid me $5 to do it.
That's
for
nice.
every day.
That's nice.
But, like, every day it was just another experience to the husband, or it's just either another 1000 mile stare,
Yeah.
or he goes into a long story about Vietnam.
So that husband was actually the Oracle of Delphi. You met a prophet of the ages, and and he was telling you messages of the future. At least that's what the crazy guy on the corner of the street told me.
Yeah. And then the whole there was one whole thing when I wrote they had like concrete, their sidewalk was being redone, and I wrote my name in the concrete.
Oh my god, you told me about this story. You wrote your name in the concrete, and then they caught you for it.
Casey, someone wrote your name in the concrete. I'm like, I thought they knew it was me because I confessed beforehand. It's like, we didn't even know it was you.
That's right. He wrote his name into the concrete, right? And they were like, Casey, someone wrote your name into the concrete. And you were like, yeah, it was me. Yeah, but who would do such a thing? That's awful. Who would blame you? You're such a young, innocent child. Yeah, it's me. Oh, it was you?
And they were like, we paid for that goddamn concrete, Casey. You ruined it.
Yeah.
Oops. I accidentally clicked on general. I'm so glad I didn't click on memes.
Whenever you're down to play some League, I think I found my true support, as I just got 18 kills as a support.
Who was it?
Well, that's not really support.
Pantheon.
That's not really support. You're just stealing kills from the ADC, aren't you?
Yeah.
Actually, no. I was feeding my ADC the first 4 kills, and then I was like, you know what? Screw this. These are mine.
So yeah, it's
So you
just
did
steal. So you did just steal from.
No,
the-
I didn't steal any kills. I ended up doing more damage than the enemy Vagar.
Well,
Vanguard.
at one point, okay, whatever. So yeah, God.
So are any of those stories good?
Yeah, yeah.
I could have done better, but like
I mean, they had like no punchlines.
well, like
I mean,
like,
okay, Casey, like you've told me these stories before, and you made them so laughably
yeah, it's
hilarious.
better when I get to tell the story.
Sorry, you
So
cut out.
I have a story if you guys want me to tell.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so it was the middle of winter. This is when I was dating that redhead chick.
Yeah.
And
Which one, Mike's?
she was like, she was like Snapchatting me some bullshit, something like, I really wish I had hot chocolate right now. I'm like, all right, look no further. Go to like the fucking campus store. I buy like a whole 4-pack of hot chocolate, and then like bring it up to her room. Apparently she had a floor meeting.
Are you guys there?
Bruh.
Bro.
That's awkward.
She had a floor meeting,
What
and I was
happened?
like, I don't care if it's a floor meeting. I'm bringing you some goddamn hot chocolate. You better fucking like it. So I come up. It's a floor meeting, and I'm like, and everyone's just like, the floor meeting was like on their floor, like you know how their floor meeting was like, everyone just outside of their rooms. They have a floor meeting
Yeah.
on their hallway.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened. And there's this one guy, just, and then all of a sudden they're having a floor meeting. This guy just comes, this like gangly kid just comes out with a whole thing of hot chocolate. And it's like, are you part of the floor? And then everyone is like, kind of asks me, he's like, hey, are you part of the 8th floor? I'm like, no, I'm just bringing hot chocolate to my girlfriend.
Wait. Did you just describe yourself as dangly? I thought you were legit describing someone else.
No, I thought I describe myself as some gangly kid.
Oh, gangly kid. I don't know. You were on track for quite some time. You're pretty like buff.
I guess.
Oh wait, I'm back. What did you say, Eric?
Oh, yeah.
Or I don't use words correctly. Whatever.
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
And this kid, and then I just come out. I was like, "Are you part of the 8th floor for the 8th floor meeting?" He's like, "No, I'm just bringing hot chocolate to my girlfriend." And then everyone
You know-
just making the
You know-
shit out of me. It was
Oh,
it was
I got a
funny.
story.
You know what would have been a power move if you gave it to her and then kissed her on the forehead and left. Like that would have been. Okay. Anyway, continue.
Eric, what
Yeah,
did you say?
she just was like, "What the hell are you doing here?" I'm like, "Giving you hot chocolate. This is
Alright.
what you know."
Josh,
because
you had
I'm
something
a
to
good
say?
person.
I've got a story from back in college.
Oh boy.
So, I was in a group of friends who would stream games and stuff.
Oh,
And
wow,
they'd
like
all
right
sit
now?
on a couch. We'd all gather like once a week and, stream stuff. And I was the guy kind of controlling OBS in the background. I was the tech guy.
Okay.
And people could hear me from the background, so I was called DV, the disembodied voice, right?
Okay.
So, one day there's this whole big nerd convention going on at my college, right? And
Yeah.
so we're sitting in like one of the front rows in an auditorium when they're about to do like their opening sessions and stuff.
Uh.
And their person that was going to introduce our speaker and kind of talk for a little bit before the speaker, our main guest, kind of just dropped out. So someone was like freaking out, looking around, and they look at us and they go, wait, you guys do like stream stuff, right? You have a booth out there." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, do you guys want to introduce our speaker?" I go, "Sure. Who is it?" They go, "The guy who voiced Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat." I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah."
That's so cool, dude.
So I go up and I'm like, "Well, guys, I have no idea what to do because I just got the the opportunity to introduce our main speaker like 5 seconds ago. But hey, talked about our stream and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got to introduce him. His name's Bob Carter,
Okay.
and he voice acted a lot of other stuff. Like he was in Dragon Ball Z, he's Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Balrog from Street Fighter. Anyway, long story short, right afterward, I go up to him and go, dude, I'm such a huge fan of Mortal Kombat. It's crazy. I love your work, stuff like that. And I got his number, and he goes, "Hey, I need someone to work on my stream. I'm apparently streaming D&D games." And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, I can come up and help with that." So I do that. Well, we end up being pretty good friends. Turns out the guy who voiced Shao Kahn is like 7 feet tall. So when I take pictures next to him, the dude's freaking massive.
Nani the fuck?
But he's like the biggest dad I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's not just that he's a dad, but he's a dad,
Yeah. Like he's a dad to everyone.
Well, anyway, when I first introduced myself to him, like, "Hey, Josh, I'm a fan of your work," he goes, "Hi, Josh, I'm Dad." I go, "Okay, Daddy."
Okay. All right.
To this guy who voices people on Mortal Kombat.
And now we're friends.
Oh my god.
Nice, dude.
That's pretty good.
All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. So, anyone have any ending comments?
Oh no. Just
Do
edit
drugs.
out my stupid stories.
Swiggity swag, put all your money in the
Do
bag.
drugs, don't do school.
Don't listen to Tony ever.
I kind of apologize. I spent the first hour just talking about.
I think the first hour of this is better than the second hour of it. In all honesty.
Yeah, it was.
I need to work on my stories.
Talking
work on my
about
stories
depression
too.
makes me depressed, so.
Yeah, but like it also makes you think about it.
No.
Yeah.
I already think about it by myself, alone in my room.
Okay.
I just kind of hope I can find someone in my life,
Yeah. I think we all hope that. So for those who are watching this on YouTube, thank you, Tony, for the final Morse code message. Thank you. All right. So for those who are watching,
like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Yep.
Ooh, comment your favorite funny story down below.
Yeah. There you go. Your favorite funny story. It's either one of yours or one of Casey's, because he had some stories, just like the way he told them were like you were expecting something else.
My way I told him sucked today.
Yeah. I think he's just tired. He was working at a grocery store all day, scrubbing the floors. So like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.